and welcome back to the Creative Life Studio. So before we get into today's video, I wanted to take a minute and just kind of give you an idea of what this kind of new series that I just decided to do is. It's all based around the idea of trying. Literally the name of the series is I'm Trying. And I thought it would be super fun and challenging for myself to look at other creators that are on YouTube that are doing things that I don't do. And challenge myself to just try it, to stop looking at things and saying, oh, I can't do that without ever picking up a brush or a pen or a this or a that. And I also wanted to do it kind of in this format for you guys, so that if any of you guys are intimidated by something that someone else does that you think you can never do, that here's my chance to do it for you and see that, you know what, maybe she's not good at that just because she's good at that. Maybe she's good at that because she's because we all can be good at that. Maybe it's not as hard as maybe we're making it out to be. And so that's kind of where the thought process for this series came from. So if there are any techniques or tutorials that you've seen online that you've been too intimidated to try, leave them down in the comments. Let me know what they are, and I'll try them for you and see if they're really as hard as you think they are, or if we're just letting our own fear get in the way of trying something new. So today we are going to be trying a wildflower field from scribblinggrace.com. She's great. I've never met her, but she seems super sweet, and she is very watercolor heavy, which is definitely not my forte. So this one I was like, I'm gonna try it, and you can hear me throughout the whole video. It's pretty funny. So this ends up being our finished project, based off of her tutorial, which I will also link down below. So let's get started.
It's Jenna from scribblinggrace.com. Today I'm going to be doing a Bible journaling page using watercolor and painting what I'm calling a wildflower field landscape, or flower field landscape. It's a pretty darn simple painting. Actually, it looks pretty intricate, but it actually is fairly simple to do. So even if you're a beginner, I would encourage you to give this one a shot because the shapes are pretty basic. So I am going to be working from the top down on my page. So I'm starting with my sky, and I decided to do something a little bit different and paint a yellow sky. So
okay, so we're going to try to make our yellow sky right now. So I don't have like the fancy watercolors that she does. So I'm gonna use, I have two palettes from Jane Davenport and one set from, who's this, Amy Tangerine, and they're all kind of bright. So I'm gonna try to do, I guess, a bright palette version of her little thing. So we know I'm not a huge watercolor person, but that's the whole purpose of this video, is to try something new. So she actually seems like she grabs a whole lot of paint at a time, which again, since I'm not a watercolor person, I don't know. Alright, and then she kind of smeared it on here. Ah, that looks a lot like her color. Yay! And then she went back in with some water to kind of move it around and keep it really wet. She also did not prep her her page, so I guess that's a difference between the two of us too, but that's okay. We're gonna try this and see what I think. So I did not have space for this in my single column journaling Bibles, so I am doing this actually in my my illustrated Bible. And so I'm gonna move this around, and then she added a little bit of a blue, which I don't really have a periwinkle blue, but I have this light blue that we can, I guess, just add a little bit in here. Okay, this side over here I feel like needs more yellow. That's just me. I think I'm gonna end up with too yellow of a sky. But you know what? We're gonna try it. We're gonna see how it goes. Trying to make sure I don't end up with like a really super harsh line there. But I guess She kind of does, so I don't know. I'm just gonna try it. Okay, continue to add some blue so that it definitely gonna end up with a different version than hers, but that's okay. That's the whole purpose of this project, is just to see what I can come up with based off of her stuff. Okay, so there's our yellow. Do we need a little more blue? I don't know. No, I think we're good. We're gonna leave it. Okay, I'm gonna heat dry that because that's what she does between every step. Okay, now let's go back to the video and see what our next step is.
Through 18, which I'll read out in a second, but you can see that I have a big space at the bottom of my page to work on, so you don't have to worry much about covering up the scripture. I did paint over it with that yellow, but I can still read everything. And now I'm adding my mountains. So I'm using a darker color. This is a blue-gray color from my watercolor set. Just doing like these big, or one big V shape, and then one smaller one with a little bit more water so that the color is a little bit lighter in the background. So it looks like the big mountain is closer and the smaller mountain on the side is farther in the background. So I really have no crazy technique to this. I'm just adding in the paint as I see fit, trying to get it the shape that I want. I'm just using that tip of my paintbrush to paint the shape. And this is a super duper simple shape. You know, it's just a simple little triangle here. And then I'm going to dry those mountains, and then I'll add my tree line. So again, it's just like a simple basic wash on the top, some simple V or triangle shapes for the mountains, and then it's just going to be like this rectangle at the bottom of the field.
So now we're going to try to make a mountain. So I don't have that blue-gray that she's using, but I do have a gray. So I guess we'll try that one, and if I need to, I guess I could add a little, I'm mixing watercolors incorrectly. Maybe this is why I don't do watercolors. Okay, and a dab of blue and this gray. Let's see, still need more blue. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so she did kind of this, kind of just sweepy up situation, and then back down, and then kind of just pull the mountain down, keeping my darker colors at the top. So add some more water. This not prepping my page before I use watercolors has me triggered a little bit, but that's just because that's my normal go-to. This is how this works. Okay, and then we're gonna add a little mountain situation over here and pull that color down a little bit. Give it a feathered edge. Might add a little bit more blue to that. She has quite a bit of blue, and I like the contrast of that blue. Like I said, I don't have kind of that really blue color, so I think I'm going to take this bright blue and just water it down a lot and go in with it in here. Yeah, I think that's more kind of the color scheme she had going on here. Add a little bit of that blue to this mountain. I don't know if this is right, but we're gonna try it. And add a little bit, darken that a little bit. Keep adding
until I think we're kind of right. The best thing about doing this is you guys get to hear me babble while I try to figure this out. Okay, there we go. Then we're gonna kind of pull. I think that's pretty good. That's pretty close to what she did. This is bugging me because it's kind of a sloppy pyramid situation up there instead of, there we go. Just need a crisper line up there to make me happy. Get that line a little crispier. Okay. 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 We're working it. We got this. Okay. Alright, let's see. Now that we kind of got our mountain situation done. Alright, looks a little pyramid-y, but you know, it's the best I'm gonna get probably for me. And I'm just kind of mixing that gray and that blue a little bit to kind of, because she has a really crisp horizontal line down here at the bottom of the mountain, and I want to make sure I get that, and that color is pulled all the way down here. Okay. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. Alright, so let's see what our next is.
We will get to in a second. So actually I'm going to paint the field, like the grass portion right now, this little rectangle, and then we'll do my tree line. So that way I know where I need my trees to stop. Again, just painting in that color. It's my big thing. Just get that paint on the page. Don't be afraid. Just go for it. So again, I'm working on this last section of the book. So there's a big space at the bottom to work with. If you don't have that space, like you're working in a different Bible, or if you're doing a different verse, you could just kind of take like a 2-inch portion out of this painting that you like the most and draw that in just the margin.
Okay, so our next is we're going to do kind of our base grass portion so we know where our tree line needs to go. So I have this dark green, but I think I'm going to need that dark green for later, so I think I'm going to use this, I mean it's grass green, and give it a nice little filler. She says don't think about it too much, our goal is just to fill in this portion of our page, and I was like, I cannot think that, I can do that. So I am just keeping my brush super wet and kind of just moving this bright green across here. I'm just moving it. Okay, that's not bad. I don't know if that's right, but I think, yeah, I mean, it's a brighter version of what she did. I think that's good. So I got my, okay, yay, okay, I think that's good. All right, let's see what our next step is.
So if you want to keep it just the margins, or you could also do a tip-in, which I've been really into lately, and I did a couple tutorials lately on that, making tip-ins. So that's another great option as well. And I will put the links to those tip-in tutorials as well as links to all of these supplies that I'm using at scribblinggrace.com/flowerfield. And I'll put that link in the description below so you can check that out. So now I am doing my tree line. This is probably where it gets a little bit more complicated, but the great thing about these tree shapes is that they are simple, and no matter how you do them, I feel like they turn out pretty darn pretty. So here's a close-up. It's a little bit blurry. I don't have the best camera setup here, but I'm basically using the very, very tip of my paintbrush and that same blue-gray color that I used for the mountains. And I'm just using that tip of my paintbrush to draw a straight line up and down. And then I'm just kind of dotting around to create that classic evergreen tree shape. So starting at the top, just a few little dots, and then as I get down towards the bottom, I start adding more and more dots to create kind of the look of some branches, leaves on those trees. The great thing about this is that it doesn't have to be super exact because you're going to bunch the trees together, so they're going to kind of come blend together a little bit. The big key here is that you don't want to use too much water, because if you have too much water, you're not going to get the same definition of those little tiny branches and things on those trees. You'll also notice that I'm doing some trees that are taller and some that are shorter. That just, you know, makes it look a little bit more natural, I think. And I did 2 groups of trees. So one group on one side and then another group of the trees on the other side. And I left a little bit of space in the middle. But this is also where you can get really creative. So you could do trees all the way across. You could forego the trees completely if you want. But it really is a lot of fun to paint those trees. It's one of my favorite things. One of the first things I learned to do with watercolor.
Okay, so now I'm going to try to make teeny tiny trees. And I realized I found I'm trying to find a piece of paper to show you. Here we go. I found in one of these watercolor sets that I didn't realize that I should have used for my mountains, because it's kind of that perfect kind of smoky blue. But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to use it for our leaves here. Okay, so we're going to make a little line. Why is this intimidating to me, people? It shouldn't be. So she said don't use a lot of water, and then kind of bunch your trees together. So make your little line, and then dot, 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 and kind of overlap your dots to make... Okay. I'm going to scooch that in for you guys so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so little baby trees. Baby trees. I feel like maybe I don't have enough water. She said not to use too much water because then you don't get definition, but I feel like I'm ending up with... Maybe not, I don't know. Let's put a big old tree right here. Make it extra floofy. Dot, 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 fluffy, 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 big, big, big. I think this is right, not 100% sure. Okay. I think that's kind of working. I think I made a tree. Let's see, we came over here and made some little tree situations right through here. I think I'm doing this right. Not 100% sure. So I've always loved watching Scribbling Grace's videos because, like I said, watercolor is not my jam and hand lettering is not my jam, and she is phenomenal at both of those. So if that's something you've been wanting to learn, she's a great person to go and kind of glean some info from. Okay, let's see. So I got my little grove right here. I think did she do more? No, she did a bunch more. So let's add a few more. Ooh, I accidentally touched purple. Not cool. Here. And so it's kind of like the less paint, the more kind of like it's a shadow background kind of thing. And so it really gives it that kind of depth, and it makes it feel like if there has more paint, then it's a little bit closer. So that's what, so it's darker. I don't know if that's right or if that's perfect, but I think that's a pretty good start for someone who doesn't watercolor. But I think that's pretty good. Alright, I'm going to play the video again and see what she does next.
So now I'm going to start adding the wildflower field, I guess. And so I'm starting off by just kind of doing like a base with like some grass, some stems maybe. And this is going to be kind of abstract. It's not going to look like perfect little flowers. I'm basically just gonna do kind of like dots all the way around to make it look like the idea of flowers, but I'm not gonna be doing any definite flower shapes or anything. So I'm starting off by just doing kind of a base line on where I wanted my flowers to go, using my olive green color and still the tip of my paintbrush, and I just swiped mostly up and down, sometimes side to side, just kind of messy, mostly vertical lines, kind of to give you the look of grass.
So this part is kind of in my wheelhouse. I was like, I could do abstract squiggles. I was like, so she's just taking, so the same color she used for her background, and we're just doing the tip of our brush, little lines. And one thing I do notice is she definitely loads her brush up more than I thought. Maybe, you know, rules that I thought existed but don't really for watercoloring. I always thought it was like you had to keep things like super light and super watered down, but she doesn't really. So, but she is kind of leaving this center area kind of mostly open, so I'm going to try to do that too and not get a little happy here. I don't know if this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, but she just go right up to that tree line, so I want to make sure I go right up to the tree line as well. And kind of overlapping different things here. I don't know if this is right. I keep catching myself wanting to be really heavy-handed and putting like really big lines instead of staying kind of on the tip of my brush. Okay, so I think that's a pretty good start. Okay, let's go back to the video and see what she's got next.
And now I'm adding, just taking, again, the very tip of my paintbrush and just dotting it around in little sections. And I really wanted the sides and the bottom of this field to be a little bit darker, just to give this painting a little bit more interest. So I'm focusing mostly on the sides and the bottom at this point. I'm going to continue adding more green later on. This is really just kind of the base portion so that my flowers and stuff have a little something in the background.
Okay, so we're going to go back in again with that same color. And it looks like she's gathering a lot more. And we're dotting. Okay, I can dot, I promise. Why are dots scary, y'all? So dot, dot, dot. It is very, if you're not used to it, it is really hard to like stay up on the tip of your brush, because I tend to want to be like and do sweepy motions. And it's not, you can't really do, unless I need maybe a different brush, but that's always a possibility. But I think this one's pretty close to the one she's using in her video. Oop, I'm gonna scooch it up just a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. I am super excited. My new webcam should be here. Well, by the time you watch this, it might already be here, but at least it'll be here soon. I'm doing dots, dots, dots. Trying not to dork it up. So she said she wanted to keep these little dots concentrated kind of along the bottom and the sides. So I'm attempting to do the same thing here. I've never met the girl that does Scribbling Grace, but she sounds super cute. One time she was trying to do a voiceover and she's like, "I'm so sorry, you might hear my baby in the background." And I was like, "Girl, we don't care. We love babies." Anyway, it made me giggle, so I was like, it was so cute. She was apologizing. I was like, "We love babies, it's fine." Okay, so let's go back to the video and see what our next step is.
and it just helps to fill out the page a little bit. And here I am adding the flowers, called flowers. Again, tip my paintbrush, and I'm using a red color right now, and just dotting it around in little groups around the page. So here's again a close-up, and this is real time as well. So I moved fairly quickly, just kind of working that paint around the page. And again, I'm just trying to get the idea of these flower fields and making this as simple as possible, and just enjoying my time painting. Again, the verse I'm working on is 1 Thessalonians 5 verses 15 through 18, which says, "See that no one repays anyone evil for evil, but always seeks to do good to one another and to everyone."
Okay, so it looks like now we're going to start trying, well, I'm going to try, she succeeded, to make our wildflower. So she said take the tip of your brush. She's using like a red, I think a yellow, and some other color. I'm going to do like a purples and pinks because that's me. So she said just do little groupings with your tip of your brush here. I'm not 100% sure if I'm doing this right. I'm going to keep my color vibrant, so I'm going to go back in numerous times into my purple. She didn't say to dry the green. I'm going to go ahead and dry it just to be on the safe side because I don't want to mix. Okay, I feel better about that now. Okay, so we are just dabbing in little groups like we've got some wildflower situations going on. And keep going back and getting more. It's like I can handle abstract. I think. I think I can handle abstract. And obviously, totally go visit her channel and see what all she has. She has a website, scribblinggrace.com, that has lots of freebies and downloads and printables and all that kind of fun stuff. Okay, I think. Okay, so I got my purple. I think that's pretty close to what she has. All right, let's go back to the video and see what we're doing next. So we're going to go on to our next color, which is going to be this super bright pink. I figure if I was going to try to do a technique that wasn't super familiar, I was at least going to stay with my bright color palettes here. Okay, and she basically, okay, let's watch the video again real quick, see what she does.
So that's kind of the base red. I can always add more color later on, but it's harder to take it away, so that's something to keep in mind as well. And I'm also adding some splatter here, so I just used my finger and just splattered that paint all around, which just helps to add maybe the look of some smaller little petals and stuff going on.
Okay, so before we go on to our next color, apparently we get to splatter paint, so yay. So I'm going to pick up some of my purple here, and we're going to flicky, 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 flicky. Okay. She says this gives the illusion of like maybe smaller flowers in there, which I can totally see that. I don't usually use my finger, so this probably directs it better than when I do, because I'm usually just like spring, spring, and slamming it. Okay. I think I might have got some on the mountains, but that's okay, we'll talk about that. Okay, and then from there she moved on to her next color. So I'm going to go back here and pick up this pink. And it looks like we're just going to kind of continue in that vein of just little groups of dots with the tip of our brush. And little pockets all around here. I don't know what my third color is going to be. I think she uses red, orange, and yellow. I don't know about yellow with this, so we'll have to see what my third color is going to be. Oh, I'm doing the thing again, y'all. Not staying on the tip of my paintbrush here. I'm trying not to think too hard about this because part of my brain's like, make it look like a shape, make it look like a flower. Is that just me? Anybody else's brain yell at them whenever they're trying to do something abstract, going, make it look like something real. Add some pink up here. So it kind of at this point just filling in some of these gaps with this second color of flowers. I think is kind of what we are doing here. And I am doing as much of this in real time as possible, so I don't plan on fast forwarding through anything unless it's just like drying. So you're seeing that this is kind of real time. I'll look real quick and see what our time is. I'm at 36 minutes. So that's including stopping and watching her and that kind of stuff. So I was like, and I think we're kind of almost done. So I was like, that's pretty good. You think something like this might take a lot longer. Okay, and then I'm going to do the flicky thing. And flick, 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 flick. I think I need more water. It's not flicking very well. Not sure why I'm using a different finger than I did last time. Flicky, flicky, flicky. The illusion of baby flowers. Baby wipes, always a necessity. Now that's looking pretty pretty. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I'm painting a field. Okay, let's see what she does next. So she used her next color.
To create actual flower shapes, you could totally do that. You could create more like perfect little dots. You could do so much and really, again, make this page your own. And here I'm just adding a little bit more green. So again, just the same dots, same dots with the same green color that I was using. Actually, I think this is a darker green color. I'll find all the numbers and names to the colors that I was using, and I'll put it in the blog post. Again, scribblinggrace.com/flowerfield. And that link will be in the description below. So head on over there for all the stuff that you need to help you create pages like this. So again, it's all about just having fun with it, making this your own and enjoying the process.
So it looks like now we're going to go in with a darker green to kind of amp up the contrast on our green. So I'm going to use this little green guy right here. I think he's green. I don't think he's, double check. It's kind of a bluish green. What are my other options? Oh, I'm going to use a different green. I'm going to switch from the Jane Davenport to the Amy Tangerine set here because it's got more kind of a basic green. The other one that I was going to use kind of has a little bit more of a blue undertone, and I thought that would look weird, y'all. Okay, so we're doing third verse, same as the first. We're just adding tip of our brush in some little green dots to amp up our leaf kind of situation here. So dot, 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 dots. Keeping my brush really loaded up with that green color. So we're getting some great, or good, well, I probably shouldn't say great. We're getting some decent, we're getting some adequate little green dots. Adequate. I'm gonna call my painting skills. They're adequate. I think I have too much water on my brush. I'm getting blobs. Ding, 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 ding. I mean, I know it's not as perfect as hers is, but I was like, kind of digging this, y'all. I might have to try to make some more watercolors on something. After little wildflower, watercolor, wildflower things. Okay, so I've added those. Let's see what she does next.
And I also want to encourage you that this can totally be done even if you don't think that you have painting ability. This is one of those pages I think that is totally doable. It may look really complicated, but it really is not, because you're really just dabbing that paintbrush all over the page to create these flowers. And the trees are probably the hardest part, but even the trees, again, the beauty of watercolor, I think, is that any way that you get that paint on the page, I think that it usually almost always turns out really pretty. So I hope that you'll give this one a shot.
Okay, so it looks like she's adding a yellow, which I was always told from like a young age in art class that you should always add some kind of yellow to a project because it makes it pop. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of yellow, but I want to dry this because I think yellow might go mud really fast. Okay, I'm going to dab this little, something right there ended up weird. And these aren't drying, so I'm going to dab those because I don't want to wait for them to dry. Okay, so we're going to go in with a yellow. What yellow do we want to use? I think I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this yellow that's in the Amy Tangerine set. And nice little thing here, and just brighten up that with a little bit of yellow here and there. So I definitely like how she in her video was talking about how it might look like it's difficult, but it's not, and that's kind of true. I mean, it's a really great technique, especially for like making these little trees in the distance, and this easy way to kind of make flowers. So I think Miss Scribbling Grace is onto something. As much as I've watched her videos, I should probably know what her real name is, but I don't. So if you ever watch this Scribbling Grace, I apologize in advance for just keep calling you Scribbling Grace instead of giving you your actual name. I'm sure you have one. So I kind of brought these up this way just a little bit because I realized how little flowers I kind of had peeking above this horizon. And so I'm going to add just a few more little yellow guys here and there. Y'all, I ain't mad at this. I think it's pretty good for my first little foray into this kind of painting. All right, let's go back and see what her finishing touches are.
Here I'm adding in some yellow, and then I thought I was done here, and I dried the page, and then I decided that I didn't really like that opening in this middle of my flower field here, so I decided that I was going to go back and add some more color, just more dots of all the green red, orange, and yellow to fill in that space. And I was a little bit more happy with it. But at this point, I wanted to add some more splatters as well.
Okay, so looks like we're gonna bring our flowers more up into this empty space right here. So let me go back to this one and find my purple. Oop, we have too much water on that. I don't know if this is right, but I'm gonna fill in some of these little spots up here with a couple of these colors. Oop. There we go. Just kind of filling it in so it's not so naked, if you will. And then she says to get a little bit more of that yellow in that section. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Ooh, too much water. So we have some yellow little things, and then she says to go back in with some splatter painting, but she suggests covering this section up so we don't accidentally splatter paint our mountain. Splatter painter? Splatter paint our mountains and our trees. So I think this is what we're supposed to be doing now. So, gonna do some yellow, and we'll do some pink and some of the purple again. So here's the purple. Don't want to overdo it. Can you overdo splatter painting? I mean, I guess you probably could, but okay, splatter painted. Alright, let's see what her next step is.
And that's, here I had a little mess up, so I just dabbed that up with my towel. Paper towel works best, but I just had a cloth towel on hand, so I just used that, and added a little bit of green in that little section at the top as well, just to help finish it off. And I'm really happy with how that turned out. So again, this is just what I'm calling a wildflower field landscape painting. It's a really fun one, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And it only took me about 30 minutes total as well. So my heat gun, again, drying that page really well before I start adding the lettering.
Okay, so she suggests hitting it with your heat gun again. Heat gun is our friend, apparently. Okay, then she suggests going back in and adding some green up in this section that we brought up just a little bit. So I'm going to grab some of my bright green, which kind of makes sense because right now I just look like I had floating flowers. So just adding just some of those more dots to look like leaves and a few little lines. Okay, I don't know if that's 100% right, but I think that's pretty good. Where's that dark green? Oh, this is the dark green I used. Let's add a little bit of that dark green in there too, just for some contrast. Okay, I think our field might be done. And her idea of doing like heavier around the edges and then kind of lighter in the middle really does give you that kind of perspective, like the ones in the middle are farther away. Okay, let's see what her finishing touches are.
And I'm just going to add my lettering up to that top portion in the margin. And I'm keeping my lettering super duper simple this time as well. You can't see it too well with the way my camera is angled, but I'm just taking a micron pen, which is just like a basic black pen that doesn't bleed through the page. And I'm just writing out, always seek to do good to one another and to everyone. Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances. For this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. And again, that's 1 Thessalonians 5 verses 15 through 18 that I'm working on. And I'm just like did my normal all caps handwriting. So totally doable if you don't know any lettering stuff. You can still create really beautiful Bible journaling pages. And then I felt like I erased that pencil in the background. I always try to pencil out my lettering beforehand, and then I hardly ever actually follow it. But it gives me a little bit of a guide there. So I erased that, and then I kind of felt like the lettering was a little bit dark for me. And stood out a little bit too much. So I just went over the lettering with my Uniball Signo gel pen. And you can still see the letters and the writing, but it's a little bit lighter that way. Kind of looks more like clouds, or like it blends a little bit better. So that's it for my page. I hope that you'll give this one a shot. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and be sure to check out the blog post, scribblinggrace.com/flowerfield, for all of the fun stuff, all the links to supplies and stuff. All right, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Much love, many blessings. Bye.
Okay, while she was doing the rest of her lettering, which I haven't done yet, I just went ahead and added a few more trees and a little bit more in these areas. But all in all, I mean, I think that's a pretty good representation of this tutorial. On a scale of 1 to 5, I mean, I would say it's maybe a 2, maybe a 1.7. On the difficulty scale. I mean, it really was not that hard to do as far as, I mean, all the shapes are very simple. There's no super hard techniques. I'm just filling in my sky a little bit because I didn't like those white spaces. But yeah, so I think you guys should try this one. Easy technique, beautiful, beautiful finish, if I do say so myself. So check out Scribbling Grace for more amazing tutorials. And thanks for stopping by. And if there's a technique or someone tutorial that you'd like me to give a try on your behalf, leave it in a comment down below and I'll give it a try for you. I'll see you guys next time.